Pierre Gasly is a driver who's come from the bottom, went to the very top, and ever since has been in a complete limbo. The French driver is rumored to be moving away from AlphaTauri, and honestly I think it's about time. Today we're going to take a look at his Formula 1 career, what put him in the very tricky place he is in now, and what are his options for the future. Pierre Gasly was one of the few drivers to follow the Red Bull ladder to the top, with his first step at the 2014 Formula Renault 3.5 series with the Adrian team, where he finished runner-up to fellow Red Bull driver Carlos Sainz. He moved on to the GP2 series, now Formula 2, in 2014 and became champion 2 years later. 2017 saw him almost winning the Super Formula season, missing out by half a point. All of this happened while he tested Formula 1 cars on and off for both Toro Rosso and Red Bull since 2015. When Daniel Kvyat got sacked from Formula 1 after Singapore, Gasly made his formal Formula 1 debut in Malaysia in the middle of the 2017 season. His results were good enough to sign him as a full-time driver for 2018 with Toro Rosso. His first point finish came at the amazing Bahrain Grand Prix, qualifying 6th and finishing 4th. While his teammate Brendan Hartley finished the season 19th with 4 points, Pierre was 15th with 29. After Ricciardo's surprise and sudden exit from Red Bull, they had to scramble together a replacement, and the predictable choice was to promote Gasly. In late August 2018, it was made official. He would be partnering Verstappen for the upcoming season after only a year and a half experience in F1. His time at Red Bull got off to an awkward start. Crashing twice in preseason testing, he later admitted this was one of the reasons his confidence with the car dropped. For the season opener in Australia, Verstappen qualified 4th, with Gasly 17th, only ahead of the extremely off-the-pace Williams cars and Sainz, who had his lap compromised by traffic. He would make up a few places for the race, but still he finished 11th and off the points. He qualified 13th for the second round at Bahrain and took his first points of the season with a P8. China looked to finally be the turning point, putting the car right behind Verstappen in quali and maintaining that P6 to the line. In Baku, he was disqualified on Saturday for exceeding fuel flow limits, and his race would only last 38 laps due to reliability issues. Spain, Monaco and Canada went without a hitch, and he slightly underperformed in France. Austria was good, Great Britain was great, and then Germany was a complete disaster. The 2019 German Grand Prix was one of the best races in Formula 1 history, and of course the best of the 2019 season, no doubt. But not so much for the drivers, with pretty much everyone messing up at least once. After qualifying on the second row, a bad start put him on the back foot from the get-go. An early stop put him on overtaking duty, and he got on with it until lap 62 of 64, where he ran into the back of Albon's Toro Rosso while attempting an overtake. Not a good look. Gasly finished 6th in Hungary the following race, behind the McLaren of Carlos Sainz, and that was, for Marco and Horner, the final nail in the coffin. He was demoted to Toro Rosso not half a season after being promoted, and with constant announcements by the team that he was set to finish the season in that team. A bit of opinion here, if I may. At the time, most people, me included, were too hard on Gasly. This was right after Ricciardo left, a dude who used to routinely be on the pace and sometimes wipe the floor with Max, but now, many teammates later, we can see Verstappen is an absolute beast, and even though Gasly was admittedly off the pace for a few races that season, he wasn't that far off what Perez does now, and that's considered acceptable. So, how did Gasly fare for the rest of the season? Well, just as good as before. He put on a few solid performances and got a magic second place in Brazil after winning a drag race with the unstoppable Hamilton of all drivers. Toro Rosso changed to AlphaTauri for 2020 onwards, and for the following 2 seasons, he was the dark horse of the midfield. In a car that was honestly just average, he routinely qualified and battled with the top midfield cars, sometimes losing out due to car pace, but others keeping up just fine, like in the crucial 2020 Italian Grand Prix, where he kept his cool and won against the best midfield driver that season, Mr. Carlos Sainz Jr. While all of that happened, Albon was promoted to Red Bull, sacked, and Perez was brought in for 2021. There were never talks of Gasly moving up again, and at this point it is safe to say it will never happen again. This 2022 season, however, was different. Gasly hasn't been doing the performances we were used to seeing, and that could be boiled down to the car. But then you look at Tsunoda and sometimes he's as fast and even faster than Pierre. This puts him in a bit of a tricky situation. As I said before, Gasly is never gonna move up to Red Bull again, and he can't and won't want to stay at the junior team forever. But where does he go then? The results this year haven't made him a remarkable bargaining chip, and there are not many seats available at this point in the season. There are only 3 openings as of now: Alpine, Haas, and Williams. As much as it would make sense team-wise, I don't think he's moving to Alpine, and that's purely because of a petty rivalry he's had with Ocon for over a decade now. That's Ocon's team, and I wouldn't be surprised if he has a clause in his contract barring this exact move from happening. Even if this clause wasn't in place, I don't think Gasly would want to go there either. Haas could be a good option. It's a good team, with potential and a nice image. Thing is, there's a 50-50 chance Schumacher stays there, as confirmed by Gunther Steiner. And there are many options: Hülkenberg, Ricciardo, De Vries, Sargent and Gasly. This is the better option in my opinion, because we have to face it, Mick isn't driving that well. Lastly, there is Williams, and they have many good prospects lined up way ahead of Gasly in my opinion. It is a really hard sell, and I honestly do not see Gasly driving for Williams. If I had to choose, I would call a meeting between Gasly and Ocon, lock them in a room, and see what happens. If they solve their differences there, they can race together. But if one kills the other, then well, there's no longer a missing seat problem. So it's a win-win. Jokes aside, what do you think? Where is Gasly going to drive next season? Is he gonna drive there at all? Let me know in the comments down below. As always, thank you all so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, and I will see you all in the next one.